hello. I'm Sooz here at Oh Hello Boston. And we got the goddamn delightful Kier Byrnes joining in today. Maybe you know him from Kier Byrnes and the Kendall Burners. And of course, there's his band. I know from going back, 20 some years, 3 Day Threshold. Thank you so much for joining me, Kier.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you taking the time and inviting me. Thank you.
Well, cheers to us.
Cheers.
How about that? So you're bringing back the New England Americana Festival.
Yeah, it's an exciting thing. I'm really glad people are on board with it. And there's a lot of people involved behind the scenes, as there always are in these kind of things. But it was a big thing in when did we start? Like in the late 2000s, and then it went on for a while and then kind of dropped off. And then, of course, pandemic happened and everything was dead. And now we're reviving things, bringing back community, and people are going back out again. And it's good to see a lot of friendly faces out there and connect with.
Awesome. Well, I was thinking about all the various editions of the New England Americana Festival that I attended. And there was one that really stands out for me. I don't remember when it was. It might have been at Oberon, or what Oberon used to be. Do you remember the fest where Will Dailey and Audrey Ryan were up in the rafters, and they were the between band entertainment? There was always music, whether it was the band on stage or the legendary and amazing Will Dailey and Audrey Ryan. I don't know if do you remember that one?
Oh,
I mean, that was just wild.
We were lucky. I've been lucky over the years. I've played with Will and I've played with Audrey, and they're amazing performers. And just to have them as your in between music is pretty cool. This festival we've had a lot of cool things happen over the years.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's so Boston. Did that really happen? It's amazing here. There's so many great musicians. All of you are just fabulous.
I recently found an old picture of me and Will and Dan Nicklin, which is really cool.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was fun. You all look like babies. Was it 10 or more years ago?
Yeah, it was roughly a decade ago. And then ironically, we had another picture taking, I think it was at the Boston Music Awards or New England Music Awards, one of those this year. We did a redo, and I'm like, I think there's an old picture of this somewhere, and it came up and it made me go through I found that photo, and just had to share that.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I think the reason that, Dan doesn't have, you and Dan, I don't think have a beard in the one from 10 years ago. So I think that's why it looks like a photo from 20 years ago. But I think it's the lack of beard that makes you just look so young and innocent. I think
I had a beard, but more of my hair is migrated.
Okay.
Everything's migrating down, as I tell everybody. In about 20 years, nothing's going to be up here, and everything's going to be down here or lower.
Well, you could do like me. You could get a wig.
I mean, maybe I'm wearing a beard wig right now. We don't know. It could be. We don't know.
Fair enough.
The magic of webcams and
that's true.
I mean, this could all be CGI.
So what inspired you to bring the festival back, the New England Americana Festival?
Man, thanks for asking that. That is why the New England Americana Festival exists, is because it was originally done just to bring people together, bring people, get them all in the same room, having that magic, like you mentioned, with Will Dailey in the room and Audrey, and just to have the connections, the camaraderie, the community. And after the pandemic, for a little while, I was like everyone, just kind of okay, we're gonna do music, and then some people did music online, and that was great for them, or great for some people, but it wasn't really very fulfilling for me, and I didn't really go down that avenue as much as maybe other people did. But after the pandemic, I was biting at the bit to get to try and play out again and feel. I realized it was such a big part of my life, and it took me a little while to get my playing up, and then I realized this is not just this is only one part of the equation. Like one of the best things about playing music is connecting with others and connecting, the community around it. And I was just looking around and places that sort of really were hubs of community, like the New England Americana Fest, and also our magazine called The Noise, which I think you might be familiar with. T-Max, who's awesome. There's all these things that brought people together. Those are just two of them. And I'm just trying to do something to recreate and rebuild that infrastructure that's gone missing over the years, and to bring people together again and connect. I remember back at those, the old New England Americana Fest pre-pandemic, I knew everybody in the room, and it was like you could go out. It became such a scene where you go out every weekend and you basically know everybody in the bar or in the club, because there's like just community of people out there supporting each other. And without those that sort of infrastructure in place where to bring people together, it's a lot harder. It's not impossible, but it's a lot harder to connect people together. And my hope is that we start that process again, and it seems to be working, because it's great to see people coming out of the woodwork, supporting each other, and just working to bring this. Like, thank you, Sooz, for helping us out with this. Oh Hello Boston has been extremely generous in helping us out and doing some fun community stuff.
So tell us about the venue. In the past, it was in Cambridge, Harvard Square.
It was big in
This
Harvard
summer,
Square.
It's going to be, I think, in Medfield. Is that right?
Yeah, it's interesting because when it started out, we were doing it. A couple places. Like there was a couple places in Harvard Square. It was also over at Fenway and at the church.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I did too, as well, because I was looking through the archives, and we've always had like two stages. And as you mentioned, Will Dailey and Audrey Ryan in the rafters at what was that club called? The one with the burlesque dancers, which was amazing.
So their more recent name was Oberon, but I thought it was the name before Oberon, but I can't remember.
I was looking back in the records, and we used to do at church, and there's a main stage, but there was also there was a secondary stage that went on in between the acts, where we actually just put plywood over a pool table. And I forgot, I performed on that pool table once. I had very small recollection of being up there, but I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. And so we've grown a little bit. This new place is pretty sweet. Moving over to Medfield is great. We've always been sort of Boston centric in this, and we're New England music festivals. Hopefully this gives an opportunity. It's very centric, Worcester, well, it's just still Massachusetts, but like Rhode Island, it's further out. Boston hopefully it's more of like a central gathering point from, for people coming up through Connecticut or, down from the northern states. It is a great spot. Bellforge is a former mental institute. It's a beautiful site. It's a revolutionary site in the fact of its historical background with New England and medical world, where it was a different take on mental institutions, where it was a big open space area where people were allowed to roam and have their own house. And it was just this huge, expansive property, and they're redoing it. It's been closed for a number of years. And there's been some grants where it's turning it into this hub of arts and culture. Buffalo Tom kicked it off. They're Medfield, Mass locals. Bill Janovitz is from that town. Drew Bledsoe used to live in that town, side note. Also, they had the Rat reunion. They have the Del Fuegos coming this summer. It's a huge, awesome outdoor space. I'm excited because it has the possibility to grow into something really big, as opposed to doing some of this spaces out here. Like you play in Harvard Square, you're stuck. It's very landlocked. Here, there's a lot of open space, and I don't know what the future of New England Americana Fest is going to be. It's not a one-person decision, but there's a national artist has already reached out to me about playing next year at the event, and my first thing is wow, that's cool. And then second thing is how are we going to do that? So this year is going to be an interesting move out there. We're going to feel things out, but it could be something that we go keep on with, or we could pivot. And, that's just sort of the nature of Americana music. There's a lot of improvisation. And so we're feeling things out, but we're excited.
I've heard great things about Bellforge. I haven't been out there yet, so I'm really looking forward to, and I'm optimistic the weather will cooperate. It'll be a nice day.
We do have a rain date of June 29th, so if it does
So the
get
next
rained out,
day, so it's
yeah,
June
so
28th, and if it rains on Saturday, it'll be Sunday the
it'll be
29th.
so.
Where can people learn more about the event?
Easiest thing is just to Google Bellforge Arts Center and type in Americana. That'll come up. I have had to type that in myself several times. There's a link if you want to sign up, free tickets. It's a free event, which is very cool. Community based. We want to be inclusive as possible. Just come on out and have a day with us. It starts at 1 p.m. It goes to 8 p.m. and there's going to be a ton of food trucks and great vendors there, and it'll be a good time. There's a whole zone for food trucks. So it'll be my first time experiencing the New England Americana Fest there. So there's some other big events that are coming through there. So they got, from their operational end, they got the stuff worked out. It's also run by the same people who do like Monuland, who are very in touch with the music scene around here, and the Boston Music Awards. So they have their ears to the ground when it comes to putting things together and running things right. So it's been really nice to work with those folks.
And the poster, I love the poster.
Thanks.
Tell us about, I think Damien, who
Yes.
designed it. Did you both work on it together? It's such a great poster.
No, man. Everything that's good is like everybody else. I'm sort of like just lucky to be in. Damien, I've known since I started music in Boston a long time ago, and we play the same open mics together around at like Kendall Cafe, which is an institution back in the day. And I know I'm dating myself a little bit, but it was such a great scene. It was this little room. I remember Susanna Hoffs came in and played the open mic night one night, and because the Bangles weren't down the next night, and she was like the special guest. I also played with who was G.E. Smith. We
Really?
played a show. For the set, you know him from Saturday Night
Yeah,
Live band.
absolutely. Yeah.
And there would always be these random. It was just had such a good reputation for music and like a little hotspot for music scene. So people would end up there. And Damien and I met there and have been friends. And, I was the one who dropped off the radar for a little bit, pandemic, kids, life stuff. He had his own path, and we reconnected last year or so, just out of the blue. And he helped film the video for my band, Kier Byrnes and the Kendall Byrnes. And we did our Gypsy Moon video. He helped film some of those shots. And we did some stuff for him as well. In our practice space, and it was really cool. He's like, yeah, I want to get that Kendall Cafe community feel back together. I'm with you. Let's roll this. So he's been a big partner. We actually relaunched I was not sure if this was going to work, so we did a smaller scale event at Medfield Brewing last year, where we had smaller in the fact that it's a smaller venue. This is not a huge like festival type situation where you have this huge space. This was a small little brewery event where at Medford Brewing, where basically the bands themselves, we had 19 bands perform, and the bands themselves would have put the bar at capacity. And there were people who showed up, and it was awesome.
I was talking to Nick Zano about it, and I said, Nick, this is like speed dating with bands. Not like a couple songs with one band. Then, and the way it all came together, you had the stage and the middle room, and then immediately after that band was done, you had bands in the bar area, and it was so good.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for me, it was amazing because I got this crash course and all right, who's playing now? Who's out there now? It was so great. So great. So, and I don't remember who the sound guy was, but cheers to you and the sound guy. Like that, they did a great job.
That was such a fun night. Mike Quinn was on the stage, the smaller stage. Hendrick,
yeah.
who was the other sound man on the other stage. They kicked butt. It was awesome.
So
it was also felt like a little bit of a homecoming too. There's so not just got to see you. They got to see a lot of other people who I've been in the musical community with over the years, so it's a nice homecoming.
Absolutely. It was wonderful. I know I saw Sam Reed from
Oh,
Sam Reed and the Riot
fun.
Act, and then Bill, we were all like talking to each other. Is it like 2003? This is amazing. I don't know. It just felt, it was nice. It was really nice.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill
Sponsors.
is coming back. Both those guys, Sam Reed and the Riot Act, are playing the New England Americana Fest, and Just Bill will be helping out. And his Rockin' Boston website
Nice.
is
Doing
going to
some
be a
video.
video. So, um,
Excellent. That's awesome. So you've
yes,
got some sponsors. I know Oh Hello Boston is helping out with some stuff, but Harpoon is a sponsor.
yes, Harpoon. Shout out to Harpoon. They're good folks, and they've been a real supporter of the music scene over the years, bringing local bands into and give it a shot to play at 7,000 people at their festivals. Like they're really good folks, and they've always been about community. And the craft beers at a point right now where they're kind of like the big ones, and I don't know, I feel like craft beer's having a hard time. I've read about it in the news. It's good to see that Harpoon is like keeping things local and they're supporting the local community, and it's very nice that they're helping to do this. So that's really cool.
I feel like there's another logo on the poster. At least I thought there was one more.
Oh yeah, Hemlock Inc. Yeah, Hemlock Inc. with Neil Cadigan, who is an amazing drummer in his time, still plays out every now and then. They do awesome T-shirts and merchandise, stuff like that.
Well,
Anything that you can
speaking of
think on.
merchandise, is there going to be a New England Americana t-shirt or maybe be Damien's design, the poster, or
So, yeah, to finish off the thought with Damien, Damien did the poster. He came up with the idea all himself, all organically, and he also helped do some filming on the first one. That's how we got involved, and he played as well. And he's a creative guy. He's such a good. He also helped do some of the video editing to make the promo reel. If people want to look up on YouTube, New England Americana Fest has its own video channel on YouTube now. So we got some stuff from the first festival there, or not the first festival, the last year's festival, since it's been brought back to life. And he's been really big. And also, I got to give him a shout out before we move on, because Damien has had like an incredible year. He played in LA at Whiskey A Go Go, which is, one of those top tier, would love to play at venues, and the Fiddler's Elbow in London, which is also like sort of that equivalent of hallowed ground or rock and roll community. He's played them both in the same year. And he's also won a bunch of songwriting awards. So people go check him out. Damien, his band's the Displayers, and come out to the show, do all things. Come out to the show, see him live, because that's an experience not to be missed.
what's next for Kier Byrnes and the Kettle Burners, your band? I think you got some new music coming out, right?
Yeah, yes, we do. We have we're also June 28th. That's right. That's a name. That's a date. It's coming up really quick. We have a
So
new
June
EP.
28th, the same day as the New England Americana Festival.
Yes. Well, technically, we have a new EP dropping the 20th, and it'll be live on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music.
So your
all the
EP release party is essentially the New England Americana Festival.
But wait, there's more. There's more. You think there's, a festival and an EP release party, and could be more? Is this our last show before we go off to tour Europe?
Right, you're going to Europe.
So this is our tour kickoff party as well. We have 14 shows booked in Europe that we're going to head over to after that. So we're trying to get everything, all things going, full positive energy towards the Americana Fest, and just then it's also like I feel like my sister and I have the same problem where we overload events. We are overcommitted to a lot of things, and we're just like roll with it, and
You're a role model for rolling with it. You're a master class in rolling with it and getting shit done.
Well, I like to think that sometimes I completely break down and I can't do anything, but I am very excited and optimistic that everything works out.
And you've got good team. So
Oh my God, there's a lot of good folks behind here.
I've got a funny little anecdote to share before we close this interview. I don't know how many people know this, and maybe it's more widely known than I thought, but a bunch of years ago, you told me that you have never lost a thumb wrestling match.
That is true.
Is that
I don't
still
know.
the case?
It is. It is. Let me talk about this because this is something I'm extremely proud of, and I will go to head with anybody on this. I am a little older. Maybe my thumb muscles aren't as strong anymore, but I will say this is a technicality. I have my oldest son, Aiden. I've told this to, and I've had him watch me. I'm like, I don't lose thumb wrestling match for whatever reason. My short, stubby thumbs are very advantageous. This was like a sport, like professional wrestling. I would be Hulk Hogan. I'd be not under the giant, like the miniature version of Andre.
Macho Man, Randy Savage. I'm trying to think. We're going back to the 90s. We're going back to the 90s.
I love it. But so I have wrestled my son, and I will say, Aiden is good. He is very good. And whether I let him win because I'm a dad and it's that sort of thing to do, that's not the nice, or just he did it on his own, I'll leave that up to mystery. But I'm still counting myself as undefeated, though he will say I'm not anymore.
Well, here's a thought. At the New England Americana Festival coming up on Saturday, June 28th at Bellforge in Medfield, of all the bands and the musicians that are playing alongside your band, Kier Byrnes and the Kendall Byrnes, who are you going to
thumb wrestle?
Thumb wrestle with. I'm going to get a video of this. So who's it going to be?
I'll open up to anyone. If there's people to be worried about, I think there's a couple like Nate Perry. He was in the military. He's military trained. He's a big, strong guy. Could I take him in a thumb wrestling match? Who knows? I bet he would be a great opponent. I think Jimmy Ryan, because he's been around the scene. He's playing mandolin. That's small. You really need dexterous fingers for that instrument. He could be, and he's a fighter. There's a lot of people. Liza Smith,
I was just going to say her name. Don't underestimate the ladies. I bet
she could be great. Or Erin Bonney, who plays fiddle with her, also very dexterous fingers. So probably give Erin the edge over there theoretically, but yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with them in a dark alley in a thumb wrestling match. So, but we'll see.
There you have it. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have some thumb wrestling duels.
Yeah. It'll be a long day. I just started that off. Thumb wrestling, I used to do that at shows. We used to doing at play at the Chicken Box on Nantucket. I remember I wrestled a thumb wrestled a professional boxer. I did some bouncer. Did all the bouncers. Just threw it open. It was kind of a fun thing after a while. But I don't know. I'm older now. I would love to have like a little thumb belt I could give to the person who does it. Who wins?
That is
you carry
amazing.
the torch now.
That is fantastic. All right. Well, we are going to see everyone in Medfield at Bellforge on Saturday, June 28th from 1 to 8 p.m. for the New England Americana Festival. There is free admission, just RSVP on Bellforge's website. Kier, thank you so much for joining me. You were lovely. You were goddamn delightful. All the adjectives.
And maybe we'll thumb wrestle. And I don't underestimate you at all. I know you got a lot of typing and clicking. Maybe that just builds up extra muscle. I don't know, but I would watch out. Keep an eye on you. We'll see what happens.